Thank you very much, Maria. And thanks to everyone for sticking around for so long. I know that we are towards the end of the day, and I would like to invite you to listen to an amazing conversation with Rifad, who is the CEO of the MENA entity of OKX, which is one of the world's largest crypto exchanges. And when I was reflecting on today's Fire Chat, me coming from Switzerland just recently, a year ago, I think we can all agree that UAE is the leading jurisdiction and country globally when it comes to crypto matters. And it's an amazing to have a regulated entity like OKX here in the UAE. And I'm sure that on everybody's mind is the following question: what was the journey for OKX in UAE under your leadership to become VARA licensed and VARA regulated? So I'm sure we would love to hear your thoughts and your journey on that matter.
Yeah, thank you. I think that you've touched upon the first point. The first point is around the world, people are looking at crypto and looking at jurisdictions and thinking about regulation. Where should I put my business? Where should I regulate my business? I think 2-3 years ago, maybe the UAE was part of the conversation. Today, the UAE is the center of the conversation when it comes to crypto regulation. We were chatting earlier about what's next for regulation. And when it comes to what's next, it is here. This is next. Yes. We're in next today. So for us, it wasn't a tough decision. We were looking at a jurisdiction where we can offer our product in a regulated manner. And we worked with the Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority at VARA to understand their approach about regulation. As a firm, we do embrace regulation because we see regulation as a competitive advantage and the future of this industry. If we look back 2-3 years ago, the incidents in the industry were not the greatest, right? So when you have a regulator in VARA who was looking at how to best regulate this industry, a regulator that's solely looking at virtual assets, not any other segment of the economy, we thought that was a perfect match. And now we know it's a perfect match because we went through a very collaborative process with VARA where we discussed and looked at certain items of the regulation. And we're very proud to have launched our regulated entity back in October of this year with actually a very special added layer that sometimes people overlook. VARA is one of the few regulators that regulates derivative space in crypto, right? So we're actually very happy to be able to offer regulated crypto derivatives for professional retail clients in the UAE, and we look forward to building from here.
Awesome. And maybe we can continue the discussion in that direction. Can you tell us a little bit about what kind of products, what kind of services, what currencies people can use when they purchase virtual assets at OKX, and kind of draw us a little bit through this spectrum of products that you have? Because as you mentioned, very key, you have the full license here in the UAE, and maybe to share a bit of insights for that, I'm sure people will be curious, considering we're talking about the new alternative for the world.
So when we think of a new alternative, this is something we wanted to bring to the table. Something that's different, that's new, but also something that's needed by the market. And if you look at the UAE market, it's very unique because you have, in today's world, you have 3 segments of users. You have retail users who've always been the powerhouse behind this industry. Now you have the rise of institutional users. And you have something what we call an infrastructure user. And I'll touch a bit on that. But for the retail users, we definitely have our spot products, our staking products. On our spot products, we have more than 400 spot pairs currently today. And we're very proud to be the first to offer a dirham order book in the UAE. Yes. This is something that we worked a lot on. So users do not have to have that friction when they transfer money abroad or between other exchanges. Today, you can transfer your local currency in dirham from your own bank account to OKX. And then the first leg will be into the crypto leg. So you go into BTC, you can go into ETH, etc. And we look forward to adding more pairs as we go forward. Then for the institutional clients, we know that they look after more complex products. And this is where derivatives comes in. They look at products where they can do a combination strategy where they can hedge with derivatives and, for example, go long on spot. So derivatives was a key part of our decision-making process when we wanted to launch this product. And lastly, as you see within this room, and if any one of you is in Dubai, the infrastructure layer that I wanted to chat about is if you go around, whether Abu Dhabi or Dubai, take one central area in Dubai. Within that 1 square kilometer, you have 50, 60, I'm guessing, firms that are associated with crypto. From custodians to investing firms, to VCs, to lenders, all in the crypto space. We wanted to provide a regulated layer where we can sell liquidity within the UAE, and that's what we refer to as our infrastructure layer. So that's the third layer that we're working on today.
Awesome. And may I, if I recall correctly, you recently announced the news that for institutional traders, you as well allow as a part of the product offering to actually have off-exchange settlement, meaning that the assets are set separately from the exchange. So how do you see this institutional adoption and these institutional requirements in light of the learning lessons that we had from a few years ago?
Yeah, good, very good question. Thank you for that. So when we segment our clients, we understand the institutional client, and we did our research at the beginning of the year. We know there's demand from institutional clients to go into this industry. But we know also that there's certain barriers that they would like to be comfortable with before they jump into this. Regulation was one, and we worked hard on the regulation angle, and we now we're proud to have the license. The second piece was custody, right? And these larger firms do tend to have their own risk controls, their internal teams that monitor their risk. And we're not asking them to be comfortable with our custody. We're asking them to be comfortable with the custody that they choose. So this is where our new approach comes in. We want you to be comfortable with the custody that you want, and then transfer that into the platform to do the exchange, and then go back to your custody. We do sincerely believe that self-custody is the future in this industry. And so for institutions, it's the same. So we look forward to partnering with more custodians as we go forward. So you can be comfortable that your keys or your assets are in a place of your choosing. You can do your due diligence on that custodian. And then when it comes to your trading part, you do that trading part with OKX.
Awesome, amazing. So I really want to emphasize this is a big achievement that a few years ago, a lot of the investors were not thinking about so much. But I think with the challenges and the problems that we had around FTX, it raised an awareness, and I'm really excited to see that OKX is offering that. But moving a bit more towards the retail side, wanted to hear your thoughts. What are the latest trends when it comes to trading tokens? So is this the market cycle of the meme coins? Is it the market cycle of RWAs? Where do you see the most activity on the retail side? And what is OKX offering in that product spectrum?
So it depends, actually. It depends on the clients. Obviously, meme coins have increased in popularity recently, and you get a lot of users shifting towards that. However, you don't underestimate the power of BTC and Bitcoin and Ethereum still within that market. I think now with the rise of the price of Bitcoin, it's still the mainstay of this industry, even for retail users. I think most of the volume still goes to that segment. But we definitely see an increase in other segments such as meme coins, RWA, and future other segments in the future. Now, for us as an exchange, what we like to do, or what we do, is actually go through these projects and figure out the ones that are best to list. But we don't do it as a criteria that we need to have an X amount of meme coins, an X amount of, let's say, RWA. We do it to see what's the market fit and what's the user demand, and we try to address that demand through our listings.
Awesome. I wanted to ask your thoughts in the context of the global environment. We have a change of presidency in the US. We had recently Eric Trump, I think a few days ago, here in Abu Dhabi to have his speech. How do you see the competition globally? Not in context of OKX, but how do you see the competition globally between jurisdictions? I think like Europe is struggling, it's challenging. UAE is growing. is US the next big thing for a lot of the crypto companies? I know I'm asking you this from position of the CEO of MENA region, but wanted to hear your thoughts. Where do you see US with Gensler out and Trump in, and I don't know who else in as well?
Look, I'm personally, like you said, I'm personally biased to the UAE and what we achieved here in the UAE. However, I can tell you, like, there is general sentiment in market that is more bullish about the industry as a whole, and I think that is where the increase in BTC comes from. There's certain factors that align: the U.S. elections, the improvement in economy. I think people are, and institutional adoption as well. It's a big factor, and most of it's coming in from different markets. However, I think personally, I do think places like the UAE still have a major role to play and could lead into the future, because it's coming from a place of innovation when it comes to regulation here, which is why I'm bullish, at least on this area.
Okay, awesome. Maybe then also then to ask, what is then the future for OKX in MENA region, in UAE specifically? You got the full license from VARA. I'm sure you bought Bitcoin in 2013, so retirement could be an option. But if that's not the option, how does the future look like for you and for OKX?
Unfortunately, you end up working harder in bull runs to make sure that everything's working. But look, the future here is definitely something that we didn't invest for a short-term gain. We're investing for the long run. I think we see this market as a place to launch new products, new exciting products that are potentially, this could be the first place to do so. Previously, we used to do it in other markets, but today this is the right environment within our relationship with the regulators here in this market. The market itself, if you saw lately, the central bank is even regulating now AED stablecoins. So you can tell that this place is becoming more of an infrastructure play when it comes to crypto, not just the trading side. It's much more than that. So I think right now, we just launched in October. We now grow our business. We're happy to address new products as we go along. But a lot of our focus is growing what we believe is a very good product that we launched in.
Okay. Maybe to ask you a question, you mentioned a strong ecosystem.
Yes.
And maybe to ask, I think, all great question, but a provocative first one. So here in the context of the UA ecosystem, I think it's a public secret that there is one crypto-friendly bank that captures much of the crypto business, you know. So do you think a crypto-native bank, which we don't have at the moment actually in the UAE, but for instance we had them in Switzerland with Signum and SEBA or Amina, how is it called today? Do you think crypto-native banks could be one of that strong pieces of the ecosystem that could further boost UAE in the context of crypto adoption?
Yeah, to be honest, it's a very good question. I haven't looked at it that way. But what I could look at it is, to your question, is it one bank today? I think it's more. I think there's a lot behind the scenes that people don't see, but it's more. But I also see encouraging signs when we see a central bank regulating AED crypto stables. That stable has to go somewhere.
Yes.
If it becomes adopted, and as part of the regulation, I believe there is a payment component to that stablecoin. Yes. So there is an element, if that stablecoin becomes payment or settlement, then I think you'll see wider banking adoption. Definitely the space could use, if a bank comes in and they're innovative about digital assets and that's their focus, I think that's going to be welcomed by everyone. That's not going to be any objections from anyone or any of the players. But I think in general, the banking environment here is I mean, we know it from our day-to-day, it's improving and it's working. So I think now is just about scaling that more with several other banks.
Okay, awesome. And we have a little bit of time, so I will just ask then last question.
Please.
It comes from myself as a user of OKX. You have an amazing structured products at OKX actually. Yes. Tell us, is this available in the UAE region? How it will be available? Is this something you had to speak with VARA with, or are you speaking with? Please, because I think this is an amazing product that you have that very few or no other exchanges has that I'm aware of, which is an amazing.
We don't have it as of today, but all I'd say is we're working on it.
We're working on it. Okay, thank you very much, Rifad.
It
was a pleasure. So thank you very much, and
thank you.
Applause for Rifad, please.
Thank you.